Who's your favorite poet?
Mine? Oh, God, I don't know if I really have a favorite.
I think it's, can I whisper in your ear on camera?
He's like, all right.
Well, Helen Keller was one of my favorite poets.
Yeah.
I mean, she was blind, she was deaf. She graduated. She was one of the first women to go to college, blind and deaf. And she traveled the country with an assistant, blind and deaf, and made an impact on the world.
Right.
I mean, she traveled for years and years as she got older with an assistant, doing impactful speeches and speaking at events and conventions. And James Baldwin was a great poet.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and he was impactful because he changed the way people think. You know, the way the culture was, the way people had hatred towards each other, black, white, Chinese.
They still quote him.
Everybody sees a color, and you know what? We're no different than the person that came beside us. It doesn't matter what our background is or where we came from. You know, we have to be able to grow together.
Right.
I grew up in the streets of New York, and I grew up in a neighborhood that was all Spanish and black. You know, I didn't grow up in a suburb. I didn't grow up in a house. I grew up in an apartment. I grew up in the projects. I lived in the projects. I never lived in a house until I was 50 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? I didn't sleep in a bedroom in a house until I was 50 years old.
Well, you lived in an apartment.
I lived in an apartment my whole life, okay? So
yeah, I see the difference.
I know it was like the juice for 25 cents, the candy bar.
Yeah.
Okay,
stretch it out,
you know?
Yeah.
Used to buy candy and sell it at school, man, because people were too lazy to go to the store.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Sell cigarettes at a Newport box.
Right, one at a time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I sell a cigarette for $1. I'd make $20 off a pack of cigarettes back then for $4.
How old were you?
I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
I had 2 jobs. I had a job at 8 years old, too, in a movie theater, sweeping floors.
Yeah.
You got to hustle because you don't want to be hungry. I never want to be hungry again.
Right.